I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, could think back to a time in our lives where we encountered tragedy or trauma and think about the dark spell that that placed in our lives, at the very least, within the present time frame, but perhaps even in the future as well. This film, it's a smaller release, I believe, focuses squarely in on that. It's called When You Are Gone. It's a pretty recent release, I believe, of last year's when it came out. IMDb says it was a 2021 release. They came out on March 26th in Mexico for a limited release. But it's getting a bit of a wider distribution thanks to the Indie Rights Movies for Free YouTube channel, which they've carried a lot of smaller pictures from independent filmmakers, and maybe just again smaller budget releases. But they've carried a good volume of projects, and a couple of which I've covered on this channel. I've really liked seeing what I have. There's some potential, I think, in the indie market. I like covering bigger commercial movies, but I like seeing what's in the smaller ones, because oftentimes, I don't know necessarily if anybody else sees this, but for me anyway, when it comes to independent movies, I respect the creative liberation that is not always present within, the commercial film realm. Whereas in those cases, larger distributors, mainstream Hollywood, studio executives, there's all like these mandates and limitations in place. But with the indie market, you sometimes see a greater focus on creativity and telling a story that filmmakers want to tell to their maximum potential by however many means they have access to do so. But let's go ahead and take a look at When You Are Gone. I mean, it's kind of a good name, and the poster, I think the poster is actually pretty good too. I mean, for again, a smaller release, this seems pretty competent. This is what it says according to IMDb for a general synopsis. James Taylor, architect, struggles to live a normal life as his haunted past will not let him move on. He is constantly tormented by the ghost of his late wife, while also dealing with blackmail within his work environment. So there's a vibe here again of someone who's in grieving and tragedy because, again, I assume he's lost the love of his life. But then he has to come to terms in that specific circumstance with, I'm assuming, IMDb labels this as a thriller. I'm wondering if this has a bit of a paranormal edge and that his ghost is... I wonder, is it going to be more so that she's not necessarily visually present in the film, but we can sense her presence in regard to how the character is expressing himself, and how he feels and how he's moving and functioning through life, and that's how we kind of see her made manifest, even though we never really see her appear. Maybe that's kind of what they're going for. But either way, it seems like a very tragic story, but pretty well articulated based on the synopsis. Let's see what the film has to produce. I'm going to pull up the main trailer. And like I said, it's a very accessible film, so if you really like this, I'll give it a chance to prove some interest of me. It's pretty easy to watch if you want to do so. Here we go.
I was in love once. She passed away a few years ago.
Well, I buy that they're in love.
I got this bad feeling. Someone is watching me all the time.
So have the hallucinations come back again?
They're getting worse.
He's kind of at that point in his life where he can't... Ideally, he wouldn't have to be moving on because she would still be alive, but...
Quit the project, or that evidence ends in the hands of the police.
Are you okay?
I'm interested to see where this goes. It's definitely a thriller.
You're in on this too.
This is all some kind of sick joke!
I know who you are, you son of a bitch. And I'm coming for you.
Seems there's some mystery in how his wife disappeared. Maybe she's still alive. It's very well filmed for an independent movie.
On this?
Sometimes you see again a lower budget picture,
Find you.
but it seems to have a little more money to spend.
Make you pay for what you've done.
Appearance-wise,
What's going on here? This isn't over, James.
it almost comes across like it's coming out from a higher level of distributor or producer. Like, I'd say with the way this is depicted, I could be fooled into watching a Blumhouse movie. That's how I feel, honestly. A lot of studios involved with that. A lot more. Let's pile them on. I guess those are different venues too. Maybe just people that came along to sponsor the project. But the fundamental takeaway here, it's a very competent film. And perhaps, again, I read too much into this being like, well, I believed his wife was dead. But yeah, he's definitely being tormented. Maybe she's still alive, maybe not. Maybe, again, there's obviously this foul game at play. But it's kind of like a psychological thriller, perhaps, in ways. And I do like those types of movies. But the way that this is depicted did surprise me. Because a good range of the projects I've covered from indie rights movies for free, not to be disparaging in any way, because again, I respect the lower budget aspect, but you do have to go into it understanding that filmmakers they oftentimes won't have as many means to spend, in terms of their capital and their investments in making a movie versus, like, let's say Disney. Disney's got like endless pools of cash, seemingly, or Netflix. I mean, Netflix is like a bottomless pit of money. And they, have made obviously very prestigious level work, right? Or would register as, a mainstream release. Whereas these pictures, perhaps, bit lower scale, don't have as much in terms of resources to spend to make the movie, materialize into like a big prestige Hollywood picture. But here, in the way that this is articulated, I'm kind of fooled. There's a bit of an illusion because the project seems well acted. The vision seems pretty sophisticated. The trailer is very well edited in part. There seems to be a lot of devotion put into making a prestige level project, at the very least depicting it that way in its marketing. I'm enticed. It does seem like a very strong thriller. I'm definitely interested to see how the story goes and the journey of his main character, and to see again, well, perhaps the tragedy come in the face of greater tragedy, or horrifically, but that's the nature of a thriller for you, which is a favorite genre of mine. So I'm sure you'll enjoy this. And as I said, it's a very accessible film to watch, as it is on Indie Rights Movies for Free YouTube channel. A lot of people use YouTube, of course, so it's a very easy film to watch for yourself if you so choose. But what are your guys' thoughts with When You Are Gone? Yeah, When You Are Gone, You think about that. And at first you're kind of like, well, you don't want to humor the question, but perhaps there's answers in that question. Maybe you have to, well, of course, he's going to have to answer it. Like, when you are gone, life is going to turn into hell for me. That's kind of what comes across, it seems. Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down below on the overall project, and maybe your thoughts on the quality, or whether you're enticed or not to watch it for yourself. But I feel that it seems like a pretty competent picture. Some of the elements here for a thriller are very reminiscent to other projects I've seen, but they paint again the illusion if this is indeed a lower budget picture or lesser known. It could be easily for me like a prestigious level project from a mainstream Hollywood studio. It comes across that way. It's very well done. It's an enticing thriller. I'm definitely more than interested to watch it for myself. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.